Hey, hi everyone. So thanks for your time today. We are here to talk about consulting and digital transformation. So today, nearly every client that we look for, right? So they are looking for different ways to do a digitally modernize their business, right? Mainly on cloud, but also looking for AI, machine learning, and multiple other business platform, right? And while every client journey is different from industry to industry and client to client, across the board, they are all excited about one thing, right? So everyone is looking for what ways they can adopt or they can inherit or they can do something within their organization so they are on top in terms of digital modernization or digital transformation, right? So today we are going to talk about two things. These are two broad topics, but I thought I will just share with all of you how we do the consulting and then how we do the digital transformation, right? So we will start with the digital transformation, what it entails, and then I will briefly cover on the consulting part as well. All right. So again, a standard disclaimer, the views here are my own personal. My company, Kyndryl, doesn't endorse or approve and assumes no responsibility for the content accuracy and completeness. And again, the information can be used for professional and for not intended for any legal advice to a user, right? Thank you. So let's start. So organizations today are embracing all kind of digital platforms, right? Mainly what we have seen on multi-cloud, AI, or data, right? The digitalization of business is driving IT to adopt increasing cloud native, flexible digital platform. And then digital, whenever we go and try to adopt some kind of digital platform, right? We are also seeing a traditional shift in IT from the way in which we were doing our current business and how we have to go and do our business, right, when we go and adopt this digital transformation or the digital platform, right? So for example, how we can be more agile, what is DexOps adopting for our organization, SRE patterns that we have to look out for and then make sure that they are part and parcel of our day-to-day delivery model, right? So again, any kind of digital platform adoption also requires transforming of the workloads, right? Whatever workloads we have within enterprise, it can be workloads, it can be processes, it can be people, it can be practice. So it has to be looked in a holistic view, and we will look at it later into the slides why it is required, right? And if it is not done properly, then majority of the companies are just uh, getting derailed in the timeline before which they can embrace or take the full advantage of digital journey, or they just fail miserably in their journey and then they have to restart all over, right? So again, complexity within the organization is also a factor, and again, it can decide what kind of or at what pace a organization can digitally modernize, right? So let's look at some of the data points, right? So what we have seen, and this is a market view, I have called out the uh, inputs from most famous companies, right? So 40% of all technology spending goes towards digital transformation, right? And it will be in excess of 2 trillion. 52% of the companies have a plan to make sure that they defer investment, and then 90% of them will be making sure that they only cut in digital transformation. So there is a huge number of companies, right, who still wants to go and make sure that they do a maximum investment when it comes to digital transformation, right? 93% company agrees that yes, we need to have very innovative technology so that there is their digital transformation. And then there are a lot of other, like 56% of CEO, right, who believe that yes, yeah, there are a lot of improvements which can be gained if we look at this digital transformation, right? So these are the broad drivers for any digital transformation, right? So we have to look at extreme personalization, right? What are the new business model which is emerging in the market? How do we make sure that the way in which we are delivering our businesses, it is cost, it is efficient, right? It is not too much of cost that we are burning by adopting something new, because every organization wants that by adopting a new thing over a period of time they should be able to leverage the benefit, right? Which is cost is one of the significant factor as well. Growth and integration of the partner ecosystem, right? A company cannot think that I will digitally grow, whereas my partners who are providing services to me, right, they are still on the same old way of providing the services. So it's very critical to look at your partner ecosystem, who is providing services, how they are providing services, how we are consuming services, right? Real time insights, and then the brand reputation and exposure, right? So all these things combined take into account how we look forward for any kind of digital transformation for an enterprise, right? Let's look at some of the challenges in IT. Right now we have looked at the drivers. What are the challenges, right? So it has to be always resilience. You have to look at cyber security. We have to look at the regulatory shift into the market. What are the security threats? What are the globalization factors? What is data privacy, right? We have seen in India, the government of India is coming up with a data privacy law of our own citizens, right? So how it is going to disrupt my business if I'm running something in India, or likewise in other European countries as well. We maybe in another 3 to 4 months we will be able to see a very comprehensive law on AI as well, right? So there were a lot of discussions going, group 7 companies discussing what will be the criteria or how we are going to consume the AI, right? It should not disrupt our society or our ethics, right? So these are all the market forces that that has to be considered when we are looking for digital modernization, right? So again, in terms of digitalization, what are the new business models? Shadow IT, how does business influence my IT? Explicit IT technology drivers, right? So how are your current user base, the people within your company, right? Are they up to that mark, so that when your business processes are enhanced or you are till that level, can your existing employees go and run your business in the same expected way? One of the very critical factors as well. What is the transparency in which your business and IT operate with each other, right? Workforce dynamics, so again, skills, how many people are willing to go and learn, how you can make sure that people can go and learn the new technologies, right? So likewise, the technology disruption, Internet of Things, IT mobility, artificial intelligence, different, a lot of cloud providers, right, which are available, which to choose, who will provide me the maximum cost benefit. If I have to go and look out for big data and AI, should I go and look out for GCP because it provides a lot of benefits? But if I have to go and deploy my data lake solution, or should I go to AWS, Azure, IBM, whatnot, right? So everything has to be considered when we are looking for a very unique digital transformation for company, because company to company it can be different, right? So again, 97%, very unique data point, right? So 97% of the organization seeks help, right? They know they have to go and do a digital transformation, they have to go and do something, but they need help, right? Their current processes are not mature. They wanted to do something new, but they are looking for help, and that's where we need to the consulting comes into picture, right? So organization needs a way to evaluate where they are, and then what they can adopt, so that they can reach to that particular level where they can say that yes, they are able to compete in the market. Because uh, the the whole market as such, within each of line of business, right, everywhere we are seeing digital transformation, be it metals, be it chemical, be it hospitalization, be it travel and tourism. Everywhere we see the impact of digital transformation, right? So if you are not digitally transformed, you are going to lag, and we are already seeing in the market that they are significantly, those companies who have not adapted, they are significantly lagging, right? So again, what are some of those success mantras or success factors, right? We need a very cohesive business and IT strategy. Understand, business provides a very critical goal and mission, right? And then IT from the bottom provides what is my IT strategy to support that business goals. IT and business has to go in a very cohesive way, right? We cannot say that I'm going to do a digital modernization for my IT processes, whereas business is looking apart, right? So business cannot go north and IT cannot go south. They have to go together in a cohesive way. One of very critical factors, some of the companies don't understand this in the beginning of their digital journey. And when the consultants like us, we go, we discuss with them, we understand their problem, we find that the alignment between the business and IT is not at all there, right? So we go, we shape them, and we make sure that both business and IT is aligned, right, for a successful digital modernization, right? So articulate your strategy, what is required, what I'm going to do, right? How is my business going to behave in next 2 to 3 years, 5 years, 6 years down the line, right? What are my technology choices, right? We have to be very clear, business has to clear, right, that yes, this is how I'm growing, and then IT had to support that, right? Define your appropriate IT operating model. This is very critical piece as well, right? Have a very compelling business case. Don't just go and start discussing with a possible client that you have to go, we feel that you have to go and do a digital modernization, but the company itself is not having a compelling business case to go and or either they are lacking fund, or their stakeholders are not aligned, right? So make sure that there is a compelling business case, or else you start with these discussions, you reach to a point, and then you feel like, okay, we have to go and postpone this because there is no a compelling business reasons, business is not supporting, right? So these are some of the critical factors that we should keep into mind. So what are some of these companies top CEOs had to say, right? So this is one of the quote from one of the CEO, that it is important to have a complete roadmap so that it helps us to stay focused and ensure that there is a proper management and reduction of overall complexity. Understand the complexity has to reduce. We cannot bring an element of digital transformation and introduce so much of complexity, so that your current business processes or the new business processes that you are looking for, right, that derails, or that slows down your whole transformation journey, right? So let's look at a, blueprint or an architecture overview, how companies can look for uh, doing or moving towards a transformation journey, right? So as I have iterated in my few of the last slides, right? So business goals and IT possibilities, they have to merge, they have to be cohesive, right? So understand your business goals, understand what are the IT possibilities, then strategize, right? So there are three critical parts: the what part, the how part, and then the plan, right? So you have to come up with a target architecture, which is your scope, what is my target operating model, and then what is the roadmap, what is that exactly we are going to follow in order to achieve my goals, or whatever have been strategized, right? How I can lay down a roadmap 1 year down the line, 2 year down the line, 3 or 4 years down the line, and within that timeline I basically slice and dice the critical programs, take out some of the most complex ones into the beginning, and then with the easy ones, and then push certain things towards the end of your journey, right? So that's how you have to balance. So you need to have a roadmap, and then comes the execution itself, right? So how are you going to design and make sure that it is implemented in a proper way? Whenever we are implementing, look at the elements which can help you in improvising, right? So you should not be looking at a strategy which has been defined 2 years or 3 years old, right? And then when you are coming and implementing it, going and implementing it next 2 years or 3 years down the line, right? You just don't forget the market dynamics, right? So always look at what's going on. Can I go and enhance my strategy? Can I go and enhance some of my target architecture? Always look at doing all these things, and that's very critical for your transformation execution, right? So uh, look at creating a center of competence who can be very focused. Look at a forming a cohesive idea between the business and IT possibilities, and then provide a trust so that this COC goes and uh, helps you in enabling or in terms of executing your overall transformation journey. And then the ultimate goal is transformation enhancement. So we should not need to stop at certain point, right? World is changing, the political, the local economics within the country, global economic, lot of things are changing, right? So once we have went to a certain level, we should always look how we can do an enhancement, how we can continuously improve, right? So this is a blueprint, this is an architecture. You can very well use that, you can adopt when we are going and discussing with your possible clients, and then use this architecture. Look at the beginning, look at the end, what is your journey, and always look at continuous improvement, right? So this always goes back and forth, right? whatever you have done, okay, what I have done wrong, or should I go and enhance something, because there are certain things which are not working. Always go back, look at your roadmap, look at your technology architecture, and then improvise by either adopting new technologies or new drivers. What are some of the potential benefits to look out for, right? Of course, we cannot run a digital transformation without looking at the benefits, right? So, and again, you can use a lot of these terms when you are talking to your client, right? Because client always looks at what are the possible benefits across multiple areas, right? While they will be coming up with their own set of requirement, the benefits or the achievement that they are trying to look out for, you should also try to discuss with them and tell them that, hey, you know what, towards strategic, we can always have improve business innovation, we can look for business expansion, we can have more flexible way of doing the business in an organizational as a whole. We can learn new things, we can have very improved work patterns, right? We can build a common vision through which the company can grow, right? We can shift on our core business, right? Let the IT take care of IT, and the business take care of doing our business, right? Let's look at taking a very standard model for our organization, right? When it comes to operational, improve your business processes, reduce the technology debt, cycle time reduction. When it comes to management, the enhanced productivity, enhanced decision making, and from the IT infrastructure on the top of which all of our business runs. Look out for an application portfolio rationalization, which will certainly bring you a lot of cost benefits. Reduce your infrastructure debt, right? Move away from your traditional data center model to cloud. There are a lot of cloud providers. GCP is one of them, AWS, Azure, IBM Cloud, Alibaba, right? So make partnership with your business, with your data service providers, right? And look at how you can rationalize your portfolio. Look at reduction, IT cost reduction, how you can minimize your liability, right? So a lot of these benefits has to be achieved. Discuss on all these angles whenever you are going and doing an initial assessment for a client digital journey, or a client is interested, to make you understand how it will benefit you, right? Let's look at a scenario. Right now, a client says, how confident I am that my cloud transformation journey will be successful without disruption. Again, cloud is just a part of digital transformation, right? Just an element. So this is just one unique case, right? Use case. So a CEO says, how do I make sure that my ongoing business and critical workloads and customer experience, right? They are not they There is no significant disruption, right? So if I'm providing services, there should not be disruption in services while I'm adopting something new, right? So a VP may say, okay, do you have a roadmap for your migration or modernization, or are you just saying that we will go and we will implement something, right? So VP of the IT will be more interested in the roadmap, right? Likewise, the CTO and director will say, hey, you know what, can I take the advantage of adopting new technologies or microservices or containers, right? GCP offers a lot of things when it comes to containers, Kubernetes, right? Why not go and do a native modernization of our workloads, right? So have you looked at all these things? A IT director may say, what is the best destination for my cloud platform? What should I select? Either it is GCP, AWS, Azure, what will be those criteria, right? Likewise, CISO will be more interested in how do I make sure then when I am having a hybrid kind of model for my cloud or for my businesses, everything is secure. And a CIO may say, hey, you know what, how do I integrate my new delivery model with the existing delivery model? So every actors within the organization will have a thought towards what needs to be done or how it needs to be done or what exactly they are looking for whenever we talk to a possible or prospective client, whenever they look for a digital modernization, right? So what should be now your transformation strategy, right? We understand that yes, digital modernization is required. We also know some client pain points, right? But how do we start with, right? So understand the need and objective. What is exactly needed? Make sure that you create a technical baseline. How do you do that, right? Make sure that you collect a single source of truth. What is the data which is available? Your decision always should be data based, right? So whenever you are discussing with the client, Look at the possible ways of collecting the data. Make sure you build models on that data. Go and present to the client and tell them that, hey, you know what, based on this data I'm looking, we can do some more quick modernization, and this is the benefit that we can achieve out of this one, right? Analyze what is the current state. Make sure that you have actionable insights, right? So don't just go and present set of slides, right? Client is looking for actions. What exactly you will do, what will be my outcome, right? So make sure that you, as a consultant, you provide a modernization roadmap to the client, right? And of course, don't forget about execution and improvisation, right? So as a consultant, it's always important that whenever you are providing a initial high level roadmap based on your initial discussion, you always go discuss with your client, have a regular interlock, have a regular feedback that, Mr. Client, where are you, how you have started, or you are into this place of your modernization journey. Let's go and look at some of the things that we have achieved. Is it as per your expectation, or should we do something more, right? Because there has been new thing which has been introduced into the market. That's why this process is of transformation and digital modernization is repetitive in nature, right? Now let's talk about consulting, right? We have identified, yes, we our client needs to go towards digital modernization, right? We also know that aligning the business and IT goals is important. We also know that, yes, what are those some of those pain points or some of those initial drivers which has to be kept into mind, right? But how exactly I am going to persuade the client? How should I go and talk to them? What should be my goal of conversation, right? So make sure that whenever go as a consultant, right, whenever you go and speak to a client, right, always make sure that there is a mutual agreement, right? Understand, consulting is not about going and selling something on the table right away, right? That's not consulting. Consulting is an unbiased view of current digital trend into the market, how you can persuade your client, how you can be a trusted advisor for your client, right? Although you are representing your company, right, but be a trusted advisor, right? Before directly selling what your company produces or what your company is currently into, right? Look at what client is looking for, right? Have a convincing story with them, right? Create positive tensions, right? So what are positive tensions with the client, right? So the seed of, by definition, again, what is tension? The seed of thought that is planted within the client mind, right? When you start talking to a client, how you can persuade them that, yes, you know what, Mr. Client, by adopting this X, Y, and Z solution, I feel that our life as a whole, the business in which the line of business in which you are running, the business processes that you have, it will be more refined, our life will be simpler, we are going to achieve something, right? So these are some of the positive things that you create, right, whenever you start discussing initial discussions with the client, right? So as a consulting practitioner, always prepare before your client call. Look at what business they are in, what is their current pain points, right? A lot of these things will come in your initial discussion, but it's always important that you go with some basics, right? Go with some data that you have, and then provide a very convincing picture in front of the client, right? And again, remember, consulting is not a 1 day or 2 day journey, right? It's a iterative process. So always have a unique start with your client, right? Be that trusted advisor, right? Which I always suggest to all of you, because I have lived this life talking to multiple clients, right? More than 350 plus solutions, talking to client across industries, right? So look at your motive, right? Are you going with a motive of, from the client perspective, helping me or selling me, right? While selling me is a very self-driven, a very short-term question. Okay, you know what? I am from AWS. I go and here are the AWS benefits. Just go and consume that. A very transactional sales, right? Avoid all these things, right? First understand what is the client problem. Even if client says that, hey, you know what? I want to do a SAP modernization for my landscape. What cloud will be beneficial for me? Go and talk to them. Understand what exactly they are trying to achieve, right? Don't directly go into a sales mode. Sales mode is always short, right? Consulting is all about having your business perspective, right? It can help you get into that client shoes, and it can help you get a lot of things which you are not going to get out of your short selling, right? While as help me make sure that you are serving client, right? You have put yourself into client shoes, you are focused, you are genuine, and client trust you. Understand the trust, unless you create the trust with the client, it could always be either a short sell, or client may be saying that, hey, you know what, these are all Google slides, or I am already working directly with AWS, GCP, IBM, or Google Cloud, or Alibaba, right? Or maybe with some AI or ML companies, right? Why do I go and have business with you, right? So use some of the techniques, right? Facilitating and direct method, right, to drive a client conversation. What are some of those things, right? Always have a question led confirmation, right? So to uncover and confirm the goals, what are the strategies, what are the projects which may lead to the insights, what can spark ideas, right? What can inspire strong client needs or gain momentum to move forward, right? So what are some of those questions that you should be looking to build your credibility? Understand, building the credibility in front of the client during your initial conversation as a consultant is very, very critical, right? If you don't build that, either client is not going to give you time to go and meet them again, or they will tell you that yes, come on that day or that day, or just send me your proposal over the mail, and so on and so forth, right? So try to build a habit of proposing credible things with the client, right? So how you can do that, right? Some of things are like, how can you look at the issue from new perspective, right? Although client is saying that I want to go and adopt a cloud vendor, right? What exactly is your pain point, right? What you have been doing so many years, right? What is your actual business goals, right? Can I go and look at some of those things? How will client business change down the line? What are your ultimate goals with the program? You have to probe these things with the client, right? What are your company goals? What is your mission? What is your objective? What is your short term goals versus long term goals, right? Can I go and focus on your short term goals, and then while I look at your long term goals, what will be the cost if you don't act now, right? Discuss all these things with your client. What are the in-flight programs, right, which they are currently running? How they will get affected when you are adopting a transformation, right, or a digital journey for the client in between, right? So understand a lot of these things, right? What you should not do, right? You should not go and directly barge into the client, right? So what are your issues? What are some of those things which is keeping you up at the night, right? Believe me, a lot of clients have told, right, when they believe, or when I have discussed with them, right, the way in which we go or I go and discuss with them and the other sales or the consultant, right, it's all different, the ways in which someone is reaching the client and trying to do a quick sell, right? If a client themselves know what is their problem, why will they need a consultant, why will they need you, right? They may directly pick up their phone, call GCP, AWS, Azure, or IBM, and then say, yes, this is what I'm looking for, right? So be very firm in, or be very improvise yourself in the way in which you are approaching the client, right? Avoid generic questions. Mr. Client, I have got few slides. Can I go sit into a room, look at all these things? These are all traditional ways of selling the things, right? Nowadays, if you go into one of your APAC market, and believe me, in my past uh, 12 years, when I have been doing a lot of consulting across APAC client, 60 to 70% of the client in the first conversation, right, they always tell, hey, you know what, we are not interested in generic slides, no PPT, please. Just let us know what is that which you have to offer, right? Always make sure you understand the client need and be very credible in terms of client by not following the traditional way of sales or the consulting, right? Questions which is only valuable to your company. Again, I know you are also a brand ambassador of your company. You have to go and make your sale. What does your company offer? But take time, right? Don't go into just first, second, or third call and start selling that, yes, my company sell this, go and consume this, and then you will be achieving the certain XYZ. Maybe you get a business from the client, but this will be all short-lived, right? Some other company will come, they will look at the complete arena of that particular client or the business in which client is operating, and they are going to take the wider chunk, right? So go with your client, be a trusted partner, right? And make sure that they trust in you, right? So that you can get more and more business from the client, right? So now how you can look at directing the client conversation, right? So always look for insight led conversation. What are the insights? Reframe your thinking, right? uh, what is the current client mindset, or right, how I can disrupt that, or propose a new possibility. Hey, you know what, you have told me that we should go and do some transformation of these business processes. How about this is what I'm seeing in the market, right? So as I told, create positive tensions, right? How you can inspire their actions with your discussions or with your data points, right? So uh, like some of these things here is, you know what, this is what I have discovered into your current line of business. This is the market trends that we are seeing. You know, there are these risks in these areas. Can we go and look into these things, right? Or can we try to do these things in a unique way? Or these are the industry trends that might impact you. You know what, your competitors are doing this XYZ into your market. I think you should also look at doing these things, or maybe something super than that what their existing partners or their business competitors are doing, right? Or let me provide a different view altogether, right? So these are some of the data points where you should look out for, right? Don't go and sell the product features. Don't go and sell standard PPT decks. Don't go and list your company services in 2, 3, or 4 meetings. Take time, understand client, what is their need, how they are doing their businesses, right? So, as a consultant, your conversation must be client focused. Open a conversation with a client, right? By creating an atmosphere of trust, right? A client has to trust you, right? You have to be that credible person. Again, it may not, some of you who are going to start your journey with a consultant, my quick 2 cents, right? Uh, Take your time, understand the business, understand what's going on in client line of business, right? It may not just come over quickly as soon as you start it. Of course it comes with, of course it comes with your experience, right? So look at a lot of these things. It's a consulting is an amalgamation of your sales, pre-sales, your technology depth, right? Enterprise architecture, a lot of these things. It will come over a period of time. So learn, read, look at the things, go and talk to the clients, write those things, how you have learned from your earlier conversation with the client, right? And use those in your upcoming sessions with the client, right? So use value statements, right? So what could be those value statements, right? So which, so value statements like who we are, what we do, what is purpose of this call, right? So try to use all those things into your initial discussion with the client whenever you are going and starting your discussion with the client, right? Ask you the questions, try to engage with the client. Hey, you know what, let's talk about this area. I understand that your business processes are not doing good, or I understand by speaking with some of your teams, there is some pain points in certain areas. So let's go and talk about that, right? Imbibe curiosity with the client. Listen, go into the listen mode, right? Don't talk too much. You are in front of the client, you have to listen to the client. And when there is a time for you to go and present, then you go and present your thoughts and the data and the thoughts based on the data points, right? Form an hypothesis. You know what? This is your pain point. I feel this could be the issue, right? That you may not be able to always be right in your hypothesis. Hypothesis itself is all about framing something that yes, this kind of problem may have maybe happening within the client environment, and then go and try to prove your hypothesis by talking to the client, right? And then enhance your hypothesis. If you are wrong, course correct it. But these are some of the ways for a consultant to go and start the discussion with the client, right? So share your initial point of view, right? How does client what client envision, right? So let's imagine we have to do this, that, right? So how do you go and present to the client and make sure that the hypothesis with which you start with, it is valid. If it is not valid, go and change it. Again, go and discuss with the client, right? What this will make sure is client will have a very unique trust in you, right? They will understand that, hey, you know what, this consultant is really looking into my problem, right? He is coming and discussing the things with me, right? And again, understand you cannot be master in each and every area, and right, maybe initially client may ask you very unique set of things. Present me this, present me that, how you are going to do that. But start with your unique consultant posture, right? So engaging, listening, framing or hypothesis, create a point of view, and then move forward together, right? You cannot just go and try to sell your own viewpoint in front of the client and then bring the data points and tell the client that, you know what, this is the only important thing for you, or this is what I feel that this is going to help you, right? You have to commit together, understand who is the decision making person, or the departments within the client or the business processes, right? Go talk to them, right? So again, some of these tips, right, which I can offer you again based on my own experience, right? So try to ask, or try whenever you go and start discussing with the clients, right? Look at what are some of the most weak questions and the powerful questions, right? A lot of my team members whom I am interlocking with, right, at initially, right, they think that budgeting and cost is one of the powerful question. Believe me, it is not, right? Budget will come into play, cost will come into play. Yes, client does look at lowering down the cost or having an improved budget, right? But they want to look at the possibilities of achieving something new, right? How will that new thing impact their businesses, right? How exactly that is going to work? Budget comes last, right? This is one of the weak questions. Look at the weak question and the powerful question together, right? And then try to frame your questions, or try to frame your hypothesis, or try to frame your proposal in front of the client, right? How do you go and discuss with them, right? Again, some of the tips based on my own experience working for more than 350 plus solutions, working for more than 600 plus clients across my previous companies, right? So try to follow these, and I'm sure you will be those who are aspiring to be a consultant, those who are aspiring to go and talk to these businesses on their digital modernization. That will certainly help you, right? So let's look at some of these things, right? Don't ask closed-ended questions, right? Where answer is yes or no. uh, for example, right, you go and talk to a client, Mr. Client, do you want to have or adopt digital modernization for your business? And client will say yes, and that's it, right? That's a ending statement, right? So always have an open-ended question, right? Don't try to answer the question yourself and feel for the client. Client has told two words, or client has told two sentences, and then you are just talking for 30 minutes continuously without even listening to the client, right? Don't barge to the client with series of questions, right? Avoid asking client, right? Or else what will happen, you have asked 10 questions in a series and client will only remember the last one and they will just answer that, right? Ask one good question, right? Let's discuss about this. Or, you know what, this is how I see the the business that you are operating into, right? These are the current set of problems. Let's go and talk about that. Get client point of view and then move on to the next one, right? Frame your next question based on the last answer, right? How client has provided the answer to you. If you need to probe more, have more open-ended questions, right? So always clarify that, yes, this is what I understand from our last discussion. Document it. Documentation is very important. Go back to your home, go back to your company, document it, come next day, discuss that with client, and then move forward, right? Try prefacing some of your questions to include details on the ask, right? For example, can you share some of the critical metrics that constitutes your return on investment, right? Discuss with the client, right? Try exchanging techniques. This again, I have personally used a lot of these exchanging techniques by discussing with client, right? So we have, for example, what you can how you can motivate the client to reciprocate across their problems, right? Or across their ask. You say something and client says yes, exactly, this is, you know what, this is exactly what I was looking for, right? So what could be some of these things, right? For example, you can say, you know what, we have found that GCP data lake solution can help us quickly stand an environment in a very short period of time, right? And then we can quickly go and reap benefits. So how will you measure the success of your data lake project? Understand, right? You are exchanging something with the client that, hey, you know what, GCP is offering something, but will it exactly help you? What is your current problem? Where exactly you are? Or does it, or even this is your problem, or you are looking for something big? Even before going towards data lake, what else you are looking for, right? Client may say, you know what, I don't have skills, something will come out of that one, right? So you have to go and start looking at those problems and have some solutions for that, and then go and have your frame your COC and how you will go and execute that whole program, right? Build credibility with your questions than excessive talking, right? Again, budget related questions could be hard. That don't go and directly ask on budgets. Rephrase your questions, right? So, Mr. Client, what are your investment criteria? What are you looking for? What are some of your investment that you have done in the past years? How they have fared well into the market? How you are trying to invest in next 2 to 3 years or 4 years, right? Or immediately, what are you looking for? Is there any investment which is already available from the business, right? So, if you get these inputs early into your discussion, it will be very easy for you to go and project something to the client, right? Understand who makes decision. You all the way, maybe during the initial time period when you go and maybe you have sent a mail to the client, or your organization has told you to go and start discussing with the client, you may be only talking to the IT or CISO, right? But while you will come to know that, hey, you know what, the actual people who are going to do a stamping for your solution, right, are different, right? So you should not forget them as well, right? So while you are discussing on the core technology with the IT team, you have to go to those business processes or those business leads who will provide acceptance to your solution, right? So look at them, try to have sessions with them, meet them, rephrase your questions. What is your acceptance criteria, right? What are some of those decision processes? Understand your competitor, right? Who is providing a solution to the client along with you, right? What is your evaluation criteria? And client may say, hey, you know what, I have got another a third party vendor. Once you are going to provide your solution, we are again going to sit, we will be looking at these 50 set of parameters. So you need to make sure that your solution adheres to all these things, right? So again, use some of these tips. Make sure, do not forget about a trusted advisor, right? Again, consulting doesn't come with 1 or 2 days of work. There are a lot of great things about consulting. You can go to Google, you will find a lot of things, right? uh, uh, One quick thing is, when I started my journey in consulting, right, there is very unique approach of issue based consulting, right, where you go discuss the issue with the client, make some hypothesis, and then try to prove that hypothesis, right? So issue based consulting is one of the very famous consulting technique that you can use. What I have done in today's call is provided you a approach of how to, or what are the drivers to look at digital modernization or digital journey. What are some of those inputs and criteria from business processes or IT part, right? How you can make sure that both they are both cohesive in nature, and then using your consulting technique, right? How you can persuade the client to adopt that particular journey, right? So again, with that, thank you very much. I'm leading as a director enterprise architecture at Kyndryl Consult. You can contact me. This is my LinkedIn ID. And thanks again for everyone for patiently hearing to me on this Sunday. And thank you once again. Thank you very much.